What's up, everybody? And welcome to today's Swolecast. It's not even off-season Swolecast. It's preseason Swolecast. We have a game tomorrow, Hall of Fame game. I know everyone is like tuning in, like, what kind of showdown analysis are they going to give for this game? Well, that's why we brought Erik Beimfohr on the show. He is going to break it all down for us. Right, Erik?
I don't even know who plays. I don't even know who's playing.
All right, one of the teams is Dallas. The other team is
Pittsburgh.
The Yinzers.
Don't say that. I thought Spike Week was a Hall of Fame showdown dedicated site, and that's what the community was you're building. Am I wrong on that?
Yeah, there's hundreds of people grinding out Ben DiNucci film takes. That's exactly. No, I didn't know who. I don't even think I realized that there was a game tomorrow until before this, but not that long ago.
Games start tomorrow, and then we'll have games, Lord willing, for the rest of the season up until February. So we are here. I'd like to bring on Erik Beimfohr, creator of Spike Week. You guys probably have heard of it. Erik, Peter was giving you a hard time about the release of Spike Week. I want to give you the floor just to kind of go ahead and tell the people why it's there and why Peter can shove it.
Well, Peter can always shove it, but
yeah.
So taking a super quick step back, I don't think anyone foresaw what was happening in this best ball space. I certainly didn't. I did. Yeah. I'm just like you have seen it with Top Shot. I dove full steam into the best ball stuff in May or something like that, just because I really kind of believed in it and believed that it was gonna take off. And we kind of had it as like a little side project underneath the RG umbrella, just like this was going to be my thing to try to kind of tackle. And it just it exploded. It absolutely exploded. Even just like I can tweet a Christian McCaffrey screenshot team and get like hundreds of replies, on Twitter. Just the people, there's a thirst for this best ball stuff, and Underdog is filling these contests so fast. And so we kind of really sped up our timeline with launching a best ball standalone product with Spike Week. And so Alyssa, hopefully she's not listening to this or ear muffing, we're on our delayed honeymoon, and I'm trying to go as fast as I can to get the Discord spun up and all that kind of stuff. So, it hasn't been the simplest of launches, but the Discord is up and running, and we're going to get, the full-fledged site up here pretty shortly in a day or two.
Very nice. It's easier to launch something, I say, like a few weeks before it ends so that you have it for the following season. So that's why I would tell Pete to shove it. Pete?
I love Spike Week. I was just joshing with Erik on there, but should someone kind of tell him kind of what happens to properties underneath the Better Collective umbrella that are kind of self-branded but yet loosely affiliated with it? It's kind of like the island of misfit toys, and we're glad to have you over here with us, Erik.
Yeah Spike Week, Swolecast,
Fantasy Insiders,
Darren Nobel, fantasy, all the things that they kind of just put over here on this side.
Listen, Davis, you were talking before the show. Go ahead and tell the people your exercise routine has ramped up in preparation for the season starting.
Well, to be clear, I was always doing some weightlifting in addition to the Stairmaster. And by the way, anyone who says that the Stairmaster is not good cardio, you're so full of it. It is elite cardio, dude.
That's what the bodybuilders do. Like at the gym, you always see the buff guys on the Stairmaster.
I'm pro Stairmaster, anti-elliptical. That's my take.
I never actually do the elliptical. I do.
So you go with stage photos on the elliptical?
When have I ever taken a photo on the elliptical? It's never happened.
All you do is send me photos of you on the elliptical nonstop.
No,
I do. You did used to talk about when you were at your prestigious golf club, gym, going on the elliptical.
God, dude, I miss that place. $35 a month for all you can play golf in a crappy little gym. Not going to find a deal like that anywhere.
Can I introduce you to Planet Fitness?
No, thank you. No,
literally
no, thank
the
you.
Black membership. You can bring a guest every single time.
I
How
feel like
often do you show up for the free pizza, Dave?
Go to planetfitness.com. Promo code Swole.
Are they going to be renaming it Planet Delta Variant here sometime soon?
That's why I'm getting I got breaking news today. Hop back on the Peloton, and we're still grinding. So Pele season starting for me. I got to get back to it.
For you.
Yeah, I gotta get back.
Well, you know,
it.
this really is a time of year where people generally find they have lots of time on their hands. There's not really anything else to be like focused on or thinking about. So I'm glad this is like such a, you know, it's just a pretty clear calendar for old Soccer Dave.
Well, the reality is that the family went out of town for 5 days, and so I have more time to myself.
What do we think Soccer Dave's diet is like when Holly and his children are out? Like,
It's better. I promise you. I promise you, it's better because it's not like going to Wendy's or wherever else, like on the run. Like it's like I've got my frozen meals. I'm putting it into MyFitnessPal. Like it's better than with kids because kids are always looking for treats. And you know me, if I'm getting the kids a treat, daddy's getting me a treat. Yeah. All right. Speaking of treats, we've got Erik Beimfohr on the show.
Look at that tall drink of water, Erik Beimfohr, fresh off of his vacation. Where were you, Erik? What was it like? Did you enjoy some Mai Tais?
Did actually. That's funny. That's funny that you bring that up. It was. So, I mean, this is like sickening. This is one of the first things that I come back to from the Bahamas. Like, I mean, St. Louis, Missouri. Davis can attest to it. Like coming back from an island, you know, beautiful vacation to St. Louis, Missouri, and talking about, you know, what's the value of a third round DeAndre Swift with all these sickos on Twitter all day around the clock. It has been, you know, it's been an eye opener for what my life has become basically over the last week and a half.
It's real tough.
And were you seriously not drafting on vacation or not drafting as much?
Not drafting at all. I don't do, Davis and I were talking about it before. I don't really do slow drafts. I might do it like at the end of when things are about to wrap up and kind of pile in a bunch of slow drafts just to get more entries in. But I don't really do slow drafts, and you can't draft like underdog and everything's not legal in the Bahamas. So
I am shocked that you didn't just register for like 50 slow drafts and then have those waiting for you on vacation. I would have been going through withdrawals.
It was a conscious decision that like, do I want to enjoy this vacation with my wife and like go back actually still married basically? Like,
yeah. Or do I want to be thinking about Brian Edwards helium inflated ADP?
And following all the early camp reports, right? Like that it was I got the itch the whole like towards the end. I'm seeing all you guys tweeting about, you know, CeeDee Lamb highlights and all this stuff, but it was worth it. It was worth it passing on it for a few days.
You know what I like? Drafting Damian Williams later on in best ball drafts.
How is Kitchen co-opting this Damian Williams thing, Dave?
Yeah, like
see,
what?
This is the key to engagement. So I log on. I immediately see like 3 tweets, like Davis, Leone, whoever else, like put in all their like Damian Williams love, and I'm like, I'm just gonna throw it out there, just like tongue in cheek. Well, then everybody started liking it and like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, well, we just
when Soccer Dave says everyone likes it, let's take some Law and Things guesses. How many likes do we think?
This is 6 likes.
Comparatively speaking, let's do percentage. Let's do like X amount of like the regular tweets. Like,
you know what? For a Soccer Dave tweet that doesn't actually include my @ handle, it actually was good. It got 20 tweets or 20 faves, which is pretty big for Soccer Dave.
And the engagement too, for people replying like, let's go, like, yeah, or like, no, I know who to fade in my drafts. Like,
Beimfohr fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. My tout.
So
Belair fell for it too.
So if you think this bit is gonna stop here, no, I'm Mattekking it right into the ground.
This is a new thing. This is a good social media strategy. I think we call it take tailing. You just tail the kind of popular take that has good headwind. The one from yesterday was these two and Leone saying Darrell Henderson is such a good value right now in the 5th. So I think you pop on here after and say, I think Darrell Henderson still isn't going high enough, guys. 100 likes.
Yeah. So we just like
that tweet could get 100 likes. A Super Bowl, like a Super Bowl Daryl Henderson actually is a first round value take would do numbers right now.
Yeah, but you need the video. You got to go find Davis has mastered the video.
Kitchen is not willing to put in the work that I am. Like every morning on my little to-do, like Pete is big on the to-do list. Every morning on my to-do list is curate a highlight video of some guy I like drafting and put it out. It'd normally be about 9:30 Central Time in the morning. That's like 20 responses, 3 retweets, 85 faves every morning, guaranteed.
You're micro scheduling that, but haven't submitted your Better Collective time card for 4 months.
That is inaccurate. I've submitted it every month, but I just happened to be a little bit late this week, but it's fine.
All right. Are we going to enter a draft? Because last time it took like way too long and we had to cut it off at the end.
If we do it, we literally all have to have the screen up and like do it.
I'm ready. I got my finger on the.
I'm ready too.
Beimfohr?
Go for it.
3.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, it's gonna work. It's gonna work. Do
5
it.
more to start. It said 5 more to start.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my god.
I really didn't think that was gonna work.
I can't wait to pwn you guys in a.
Who gets the influencer 101? Who's getting the influencer 101?
Oh man.
It'll be Dave, of course.
Wow, the puppy draft not filling in 13 seconds. Might be bearish on underdog.
Market crash.
I legit did get for people saying that like I'm not being genuine. You know, obviously the whole disingenuous thing. The tag has been applied to the Swolecast before. I will say that my last puppy draft, I did draft Damian Williams later on in drafts. So
wow, a real genuous tout.
Yeah, while we're it looks like Peter got the 4th overall. We've got Davis 7th, Erik 8th, and me at number 10. So
I don't recognize any of these dudes.
I recognize Ikesms. He's like one of the who's an older guy.
I did 6 drafts this morning with Justin Herzig's bot. He's auto drafting these, but I know what Herzig's settings are, and I've been back to back with him twice, and so I've been able to like know what his computer is going to take, which was nice. That was a nice little thing to have happen this morning.
I obviously respect Herzig a ton, but I was hopping in a bunch of drafts to see how many I could get in there with him because, like you said, I know exactly what he's going to do. He's not correlating. He's not, he's just trying to mash 150 in, which I get. But like, so I'm like, dude, I know what one of these 12 people are going to do. This is the only time this is ever going to happen. Like you said, if I'm next to him in the draft, this is an actual advantage that I can take, that I can use.
Peter, do you think he's a fish as well?
Do I think Justin Herzig is a fish? I'm on record looking right into the camera. Justin Herzig is the ultimate fish.
All right.
Oh.
I also just want to say, Devontae Adams goes 3. Okay, it's gonna be that kind of room. I'm gonna snipe the big dog from Soccer Dave. I will say, guys,
can't quit him.
If you guys could congratulate me as 3 no badgers, I believe in the past 12 hours, I received my experience badge on Underdog. Kind of shocked that Beimfohr isn't there, honestly.
What do you have to do? How many drafts?
Yeah, what do you have to do?
You have to be an influencer. You have to be good at best ball. You got to do a bunch of them. You're not
okay.
Doing one
I
had
my badge last year. Does it not carry over year to year?
What do you mean you didn't? The badge should carry over, right?
It didn't, because I had it last year. Oh man, I do not want to take Saquon. Oh geez.
This is how you know Soccer Dave is a lemming, because you're going to draft as close to ADP as possible just so he doesn't do anything ridiculous in this. I can guarantee it right now.
Go out on a limb. Soccer Dave will be real nice to whatever you do.
Saquon Barkley. Oh geez.
Are you gonna handcuff him with Devontae Booker?
I handcuff him with 5 Giants wide receivers, Evan Ingram and Daniel Jones. Just
that sounds like a dog pile at Giants camp right there. That's what we call that.
Dude, the Giants, it seems not even real how bad they are. Like everything that comes out of Giants training camp, they've had 3 players retire already. 3 who are just like, you know what? I'm not putting up with this. I'm out. I'm done.
Isn't it funny though that everything that's coming out of Giants camp is basically the same thing as everything that's coming out of Lions camp, but everybody is like obsessed with what Dan Campbell is saying, you know, like they're saying the same stuff, except the Giants are pummeling Daniel Jones on the bottom of a pile, but it's the same thing. And everybody's excited for this Lions.
Oh, I just got the dog pile joke.
Soccer Dave just took AJ Brown at 2-3, a real 0 RB truther.
He had to get his Titans quota.
I took him in the last draft as well, and I was excited about getting Julio, and then Julio went like 2-6, like way like.
Damn, tough scenes here. I was just gonna take Gibson.
All right,
take Taylor.
No,
fine, I'll take him.
You can have him. Colts players, I'm out. Hines is the only one I'm taking now. I'm out on all of them.
I'm going to actually go for the most high T start here if I don't get sniped. This is literally the most possible high T start.
Don't do it. No way.
I'm doing it.
No.
Yes, I'm doing it. I'm out here. I have to be the change I want to see in the world. I told people to start drafting running backs that don't catch passes. Someone's got to do it.
Oh, the FFPC grinder.
Let's go, baby. Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb. Shove it.
What if one of your running backs gets hurt?
What if one of my running backs doesn't catch a single pass all year?
combined receptions for Chubb and Henry, 17.
But I mean, well, both of those guys with a touch on equity. You talk about spike weeks, Erik.
Kitchen loves this start for me. I can tell.
Kitchen is like fanning himself.
Good thing I have this awesome haircut where the air gets me easily. Okay, so we're talking about starts. Who you got, Erik, to start?
Diggs and Gibson. This is just not unique for me. This is how I start a lot of drafts.
Okay, Davis.
I started Ezekiel Elliott, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, which also is not a unique start for me. I do that a lot.
All right.
Are we doing show and tell? I started Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, and Keenan Allen, which is a very unique start for me.
You just got Keenan Allen. Very nice. What are your thoughts on Keenan Allen this year, Erik?
I'm kind of down on Keenan. Not Keenan, to use a Pete phrase, in a vacuum. I think he's fine, but he goes in a range where I just like all the other wide receivers around him up, ceilings better. Like, I mean, CeeDee Lamb goes after him, and
Allen Robinson
goes after him, and he goes right after like DK and AJ Brown and that, and Justin Jefferson.
And his quarterback goes in a terrible range too, where I'm not wanting, like, a lot of the times it's like Russell Wilson or Justin Herbert, and like, okay, even for the stack, I would just rather have Russell Wilson.
Yep.
All right, I'm on.
What do you got, Kitchen?
Ooh.
What do you have, Dave?
Oh man, I mean, obviously I've got Saquon and AJB, but now I don't want to draft DeAndre Swift. He's
definitely taking Julio Jones, like 1,000,000%. He's clicking Julio here.
Julio Tannehill at the wrap. You got to lock. Yes, he did.
I gave it away when I was talking about wanting to draft Julio in the third in my last draft. So yeah.
How many Titans super stacks do you have where every pick is like 20 picks ahead of ADP?
Josh Reynolds, 16th round.
It worked out last year. That's all I'm gonna say is that my Titans stacked worked out last year. So
well, everyone is just drafting last year's strategy that worked. Everyone is just copying and pasting the strategy that worked from last year. I was telling Leone yesterday, the win rate stuff, when everyone goes back and looks at it, is going to be so fascinating, because all of the things that are baked into the win rates we are looking at that exist now are that people were drafting bad. They were drafting bad running backs way too high. And now on Underdog, they are not. And now on other places, running back ADP is still bad, but it's mostly close to efficient on Underdog. So I think it's possible that like Chris Carson can have a pretty average year, but be a positive win rate player and things like that because of how heavy people are drafting wide receivers.
Did you see the report on Racy McMath as we're talking about the Titans, Davis? Because you're a big Racy McMath fan.
Is that the LSU tight end?
No, what an idiot. All right, I'm gonna draft Swift. I can't not draft Swift in the 4th round. Come on. No,
Very high T start.
Racy McMath is the Titans. Like, I mean, he was like a 6th or 7th round draft pick. I don't know, but AJ Brown said he kind of reminds him of Julio Jones. So for those deep Titans stacks,
AJ Brown, notoriously great evaluator of talent.
well, he plays with Julio. So why? I mean, who better to trust with those opinions? Let's talk about some other news and notes as Peter's about to be drafting. Jalen Reagor got absolutely ripped today on second team reps, Davis. As a Reagor stan,
what are they going to do? What are they going to do?
As a Reagor stan, does that influence your opinion at all? Or does that make you even more bullish on Reagor this year?
I mean, I'm just going to keep Reagor right now is going after guys who are like drawing dead to be meaningful fantasy players. Like he is going in a range with Nelson Aguilar, Emmanuel Sanders, Cole Beasley. I actually do like Terrace Marshall Jr., who is going in that range, but like Devonta Smith is going to miss 3 weeks of camp. I mean, I like Travis Fulgham. I think Fulgham should be a little bit more expensive, but no, I'm not worried. Like an August 4th report about Jalen Reagor getting yelled at.
So just go on record and say you're even more bullish on Reagor.
You cannot have that on the record. I am the standard amount of bullish on Jalen Reagor.
Peter, what about you? As far as like you're helping to like write a daily newsletter. You're on the clock, by the way. You shoot 3 running backs and a wide receiver. What a fish, this guy.
I'm going to win the puppy with only 3 running backs, none of which catch passes. That is the mission I've decided today, and now we must see it through. What were you asking me, Dave? What I think about Jalen Reagor?
Well, just about these, like you're helping to write like a daily newsletter.
Yeah.
So you're looking over these camp bits like pretty closely. How much does that influence your own process?
So I mean, there's huge confirmation bias, when you see stuff, but honestly, it's been pretty instructive when, you click a RotoWorld blurb, a RotoWire blurb, even someone's blurb that they pull from an Athletic article or whatever. Like I heard Davis, you referenced that Chiefs one where they're talking about McKinnon. And like, it gets me more excited to draft McKinnon by the lead and what people are sharing. And then you go and read the article and it's literally just like, yeah, he looks fine out there. Like Mahomes is excited to have him on the team. And you're like, there's literally nothing here like whatsoever that actually says anything meaningful, but those are the blurbs that get circulated.
But I'm worried they're mentioning McKinnon at all because there was no mention of DeAndre Washington last year. There was no mention of Darwin Thompson. Like these guys were not being touted. Like I am officially worried McKinnon is going to be not a thing into himself, but that he is going to really hurt CH's upside, which is a bummer as I take CH in the 2nd round.
Also, Davis, the other day I tried looking for the dead legs quote. I could only find tired legs. Is dead legs your punch up on that story?
It was definitely said at some point by not me. Like it was, I would not have come up with that on my own. I don't think.
I went hunting for it to try to find the origin of that. And all I could find was tired legs. And I was like, swear to God, Davis, this is like a slander campaign against McKinnon. Dead legs versus tired legs is wildly different.
I believe the origination of the dead legs quote is inside a paywalled article on The Athletic that was quoted on NBC Sports Edge as tired legs.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
That's possible. That's a lie too.
All right. So Eric, you just drafted ETN in the 5th round.
Mm-hmm.
You like this guy?
Yeah, it's funny. Pumping Pete's show, Ship Chasing. We talked about ETN and like Javonte and some of these guys over the course of the last month or whatever, and I was like a little wishy-washy on ETN. I think I fell into a little bit of the Urban Meyer is a total gut trap. And I mean, I still think that's like a legitimate concern, but I don't think it should be a concern in terms of us betting on Travis Etienne. And so just listen to like, just some smart people kind of talk about ETN, and he's a bet that I want to make. And there's a weird kind of pocket in this draft now in that 5th round where like all the receivers are gone, and he falls into this perfect spot that I'm trying to take him a little bit more than like I was previously.
Yeah, I thought in Leone recently had this really good article deconstructing all of the kind of structural data for last year and what type of players were in winning 0 RB and hyper fragile builds. And the rookies do really well in the 0 RB builds. And it makes sense because they finish stronger. You piece together your Nyheim Hines, your J.D. McKissics later, and then these guys come on late and supercharge your team in the playoffs. Where the hyper fragile builds, the reason you saw the Josh Jacobs, the Todd Gurley's in there is because you do need the quote unquote usable weeks at the start. You just need that production. And ETN isn't as great of like a hyper fragile running back pick, but he's an awesome 0 RB or anchor RB pick.
Yeah. And I like to use those guys in like, anchor RB, hero RB, whatever, because if I am getting something like, and I think you're going to get something out of ETN even early in the year, right? Like some kind of pass catching role, whatever. So like maybe I just use that small score, at my RB2 spot for a while, or like to your point, I can piecemeal it together with James White, right? With Gus Edwards, with whoever. And then by week 8, when ETN's really popping and he's the man, now we're off to the races.
The three fish in this room decided that we don't care about Joe Burrow looking like total trash at practice because I took Chase, Beimfohr took Higgins, and Pete just took Tyler Boyd. So apparently none of us feel strongly that he actually looks bad in practice.
I passed on Boyd for DJ Shark. So
because of the blurb.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, if you're really out here hunting your blurbs, Roster Watch has been at Jags practice and he said he wouldn't take DJ Shark in any fantasy league.
Even in the 20th round.
Even in the
Alex
20th.
said that?
He said he'd take Colin Johnson over him.
Oh man.
He didn't say that part.
Oh, baby. Oh, damn it.
Colin Johnson's a big dude. You never know.
Colin Johnson was good at Texas. Pete got me on some 18th round Colin Johnson.
Him and Fulgham, I feel like are those late picks that could just be very good right out of the gate.
The one again, you're stealing from me. I started taking Cedric Wilson.
Oh yeah.
Cedric Wilson is hella obvious. Like you should just be taking that dude all the time.
Dude, Kitchen, there's a take tail for you. Cedric Wilson should be super obvious as a late round dart throw. That's 100 likes right there.
James Washington also should be. James, like the 3 Steelers wide receivers all go top 80, but James Washington goes undrafted in these. Like James Washington is the most obvious. Like you should just be taking that dude. People don't think of wide receivers as like handcuffs or like injury replacements, but they really should.
We were just talking about rookie running backs. Wanted to talk about, I was listening to In Harditz where he was talking about Javonte Williams being a guy. He didn't say league winner, but kind of sounds a guy that could be immediately the starter, like almost like Denver wants him to be the starter. Drafted higher up in last year's draft. They were looking to cut Melvin Gordon basically if he was found guilty of this DUI. They want to get rid of him. Thoughts on Javonte this year, Eric?
Yeah, I mean Javonte's in a relatively similar spot to ETN, but kind of like the inverse. ETN looks like he's definitely going to have some sort of pass game role, but he needs to grow into, the full workhorse role. Whereas, like you said, with Melvin, assuming to be on the roster, Melvin probably, even if Javonte takes the early down role, Melvin gets third downs, maybe even a little goal line, whatever. But I mean, how many times do we got to watch Melvin Gordon turn what should be big plays into 4-yard carries, every single year before Javonte finally takes over? And to the continued training camp puff pieces and hype tweets and all that, I think it was something today that they basically said like every day Javonte just looks
they did.
Incredible.
They said he's not making any of the rookie mistakes or anything like that. They've been super complimentary.
This goes back to the blurb thing because then it was 2 days ago, Benjamin Albright, say of him what you will. He was saying it's not even close. Melvin Gordon is the RB1 right there. So it's like, all these reports,
which I think is true. I actually think both those things are true. I think Melvin Gordon is for sure going to get 18 touches when Denver plays in week 1, But I also think that the coaching staff probably thinks Javonte. Like I think both of those things are true.
And I actually think it's possibly a rare actionable one, or at least like something that maybe we should consider, because they talked about like he looks good in pass pro. We trust him, we trust him in all these scenarios already, that's the hurdle, right? Like that was even like the hurdle for Antonio Gibson last year. It's like we know Antonio Gibson can catch passes, but he wasn't trustworthy in like on every passing down with pass protection and all that kind of stuff. And so like if they're talking about that with Javonte, that just opens up an easier path to a ceiling, which is really all that we care about.
Yeah. Yeah, Javonte feels like that classic, similar to Jonathan Taylor, where his production isn't going to be great at the start of the season. But man, if he dusts Melvin Gordon by the end, I mean, he could be just a full-blown bell cow back. Broncos actually have a nice playoff schedule too, so I could see that lining up nicely.
But also, we know Davis's like distaste for.
Oh, Erik, that was brutal, dude. I needed Waddle.
But like, talk about the Dolphins at
you've got the
because they're all cheap.
They're my favorite. They're my most stacked team in Puppy too. Now I'm sniping up to a Waddle, Fuller, and just every draft pretty much.
Preston Williams.
Yeah, I think that
Albert
might get
Wilson.
a little. Yeah, Albert Wilson.
Okay, but I was gonna just to put a cap on, nice little bow tie on that last thought. Last draft, Melvin Gordon went in the 10th round, whereas Javonte going in the 6th round. Like where do you like not take Melvin Gordon if he falls that far?
It's just not the type of guy I take.
He's got to go.
I'd rather take Pollard.
Further. Yeah, he's got to fall past. He's got to fall into like what? Maybe Madison, closer to like that Madison, James White. He's got to fall into that range because he's really not that different than those guys.
Yeah, right. Same with like David Johnson. It's just I need like a 35 pick discount.
ADP. Like I need on the screenshot for it to be clear that David Johnson hung around like 3 rounds too long, so no one gives me any grief about it.
Make it clear that the room forced your hand into doing this.
Yeah, it's very important.
Melvin Gordon and David Johnson got to be like the Russell Gage of running backs.
Right? Oh my God, the Russell Gage people are amazing.
Who's taking these guys? Why are they all going in the 10th round? Who is actually drafting these guys in the 10th round? It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. Some people are taking Darnell Mooney in the 8th round after saying they weren't going to take him in the 9th.
I mean, I mean, I like Hardman Davis, but that's in the 7th, a little rich.
Dude, you see that pass? Did you see that catch he made today at practice?
This is what did you get? You got him. All right. Yeah. ADP 90 took him 11 picks ahead of ADP.
But this draft is going way harder on wide receivers though. We are already at the 9-10. We are already at the top of the queue being Gage, Bateman, Ruggs. Like this draft is annihilating wide receivers.
It's not a ship chasing draft though. Like I haven't felt punished for my early RB start yet.
Well, we'll see about that, buddy. When I go back and check this individual league 6 months from now.
You can name your leagues now, right?
Name it.
Yeah.
I do need to go through and name them. That would be fun and take forever probably. But that's just kind of badge life, guys. I don't know what to tell you.
How do I not have a badge yet? I'm like 100 drafts in.
I like in the past it was like how much money you had won. And then that's why I got like they had a black and they had a red. And last year the past 2 years I've had black, but this year I don't have any. I like this. I wish they would do it for like DraftKings.
I think they have kind of an algorithm that kind of senses who's more of a best ball poser, and then they actually revoke the badge when you're not playing enough.
Again, I wish they would have this for DraftKings because I like not being able to enter like $3 contests because I was so amazing in 2016. Like that's not.
So you think you want to get like refished back? Like you would like to have a do-over on your DFS career.
It should be like if this is how draft is doing it, it should be like, oh gosh, I'm about to draft. Hold on.
Click.
I was about to draft Melvin Gordon.
No, Dave, I was about to take him, bro. Party foul.
Jeez.
You were going to take Hurts or Melvin Gordon?
I was going to take Hurts.
Well, Melvin Gordon's still there if you want him. But yeah, like this should be like a rotating or like your freaking flyer miles where like they reset at a certain time. Don't punish us. Don't give us like the 3-bar badge.
Don't punish Tournament Player of the Year 2013 Soccer Dave for his past winnings.
It's not even that. Like, you don't even have to be profitable. Like, I think I've said this. Like, I think last year was the only year that I have got a 1099 from DraftKings as opposed to like FanDuel almost every year. Yeah, I still prefer to play on DraftKings just because of the experience, but I would prefer a lot more if I could play in these low dollar contests. That's all I'm saying.
That's all he's saying, guys.
Maybe what they do, you know how like when you get much older, you sometimes have to take a driving test again to prove that you're, capable. I feel like Dave should have to take a DFS test and just to kind of see where he's at. And then he might get demoted back down to
That's actually a great bit. Like, Pete, that is a great bit. The DFS test. Like, how have you not already started setting up a video
I
for
bet
the DFS
and
test?
Dink would make a standardized test for Kitchen in a heartbeat. They'd have a blast creating that.
Kitchen, define leverage.
It would be like the DFS Wonderlic. Like,
the DFS Wonderlic is good.
I think we should just send you on with Blender on a podcast and make you go. Blender will quiz you. Blender will definitely quiz you. He puts out the tweets every Saturday night during an NFL season. You just have to get those right. If you
can withstand an hour conversation with Blender, you actually don't get your badge. Anyone who tunes out on Blender actually does get their badge.
All right, I got to remove my badge then.
Peter, you just gave the babe.
Is that what they're calling him these days?
That's what I call him. So you've got Herbert as your QB. You're pairing him with Keenan Allen so far, and it keeps on going. Every pick it keeps on going to my screen. Yeah, it keeps on going to my screen.
Some people just aren't built for this life, guys, and I think Kitchen might be someone who just can't handle the flying pieces.
All right, so go ahead and give us a rundown of your team right
now. No, I did. I got I took Allen and Williams at cost, and then Herbert slides, which is something typical now. I feel like his ADP is always dropping a little bit. Felt good about that, and then just double tapped Bills wide receivers. They say Sanders is running ahead of Davis right now, but when you grab both, does it really matter?
No, it doesn't. And you with the Allen, Beckham, Sanders wide receivers, fountain of youth over there.
This is so brutal. This is so brutal right now. Tony Pollard never falls this far after ADP, but I can't take him because I have Zeke.
It's a beautiful thing. Thank you, David.
I should have just done the handcuff. I should have just done it. Really, they're complementary pieces. They can spike the same week.
About it.
If you really think about it, Zeke gets 100 yards and a touchdown in the first half. Pollard gets 100 yards and a touchdown in the second half as they blow out the Cardinals 45-7 in week 17.
That's the story I tell myself every time on a stream. I handcuff my running back every single time.
It's actually a very unique build when you handcuff your first round running back.
Kitchen would vomit if he thought about how so these strategies have gone that far. Kitchen, have you even thought of the concept of stacking your week 17, like the double stack of wanting your quarterback to have a bring back from the team they're playing in week 17?
Legit. I brought this up last year. I brought this up as far as stacking your two teams that you want to stack. Now, does that mean that I look at the schedule this year for week 17? No, it doesn't. But I did bring up that last year, and I brought up backup quarterback in the 18th round as well with Andy Dalton. And that's,
I heard Herzig was actually toying with that strategy too.
Let's just put it out there. True or not?
True or not? What
do you think? Is he really toying with that strategy?
No.
Or is that the auto pick?
No, I do. There does need to be more discussion about this idea though, of taking players in the 18th round who are not selected that often, like starting to take like essentially random guys, because like you get down to that round and you're like, Hunter Renfrow is more or less drafted in like, let's say 80% of drafts or whatever. You scroll down a little bit further and you start talking about Cedric Wilson, Colin Johnson, Auden Tate, Freddie Swain, Mohammed, like whoever, like whatever your flavor of dude is, there's like you are actually incentivized to take guys who are not selected in drafts that often. And I don't think people think of that at all when they draft.
Yep. I don't mind getting weird with my late round pick. I think I took Mike Boone on a team with my 18th round pick the other day.
I mean, I will lock in a minimum of one Mike Boone spike week this year. I will absolutely guarantee that happens. There will be a week, it'll be like week 9, and you and Pat are going to be doing ship chasing. You'll be like, we have this 0 RB team. Do we go $530 on Mike Boone? Do we just go all like, I guarantee it, dude.
Davis, hey, I need to hear, you like Irv Smith over Gesicki?
Yes, I am Super Bowl on Irv Smith. I wasn't, I was taking Gesicki more. Dude, don't do that to me. Not like that. No. So like, remember the Tyler Conklin FUD when Mike Zimmer was like, oh yeah, we really like Tyler Conklin. And then, first off, that was a lie. And then second of all, I actually saw this great, I don't remember if it was a thread or just an article from Graham Barfeld the other day about how Irv Smith actually played a lot of snaps last year anyways, and is like a fine blocker, like enough to be out there. But now that the other guys are the blockers, now that it's like your Tyler Conklins and stuff and not your Kyle Rudolphs, 1, he should play more. 2, there's like no competition for slot wide receiver. Like they're bringing in literally street dudes like D.D. Westbrook. And then I actually thought of this. I don't even have to. I mean, someone else has probably made this point, but Adam Thielen scored 9 touchdowns inside the 5-yard line last year. I would bet so hard against that repeating. And Irv Smith Jr. would be the obvious beneficiary of those targets going elsewhere.
Real quick, Eric, that Christian Kirk pick was for you, buddy. I figured AJ Green got hurt. So now you're back. Christian Kirk is at camp, and AJ Green got hurt this morning.
But Leone is triggered.
Leone and Norris, they got to go sing Kumbaya for their. What a surprise! AJ Green not going to make it out of camp unscathed.
What was the injury? Is it serious or
no?
What?
Just
okay.
I mean, we don't know that, but they said a minor
Cliff said because injury reports aren't mandatory until week 1, he's not telling anyone anything.
Game theory.
Oh wow!
Bro.
Sterling Shepard just got sniped from me.
Oh,
I cannot believe
bummer,
it.
dude.
I cannot.
That's the first time in human history anyone ever said Sterling Shepard just got sniped from me.
And now I'm gonna take Ferkser.
What's your plan with this team, bro? Like what's
Ferkser? Jesus,
the Ferk daddy, dude.
If you don't take Darrington Evans, you're the fakest Titans fan of all time.
Oh, this is a good battle. Eric versus Kitchen for Darrington Evans.
And this actually
Darrington team. You have the perfect Darrington.
The correlation even works for it because he has all the pass catching guys and not Derrick Henry.
So what do we think of this Randall Cobb ADP these days? Is it outrageous?
It's one of the most absurd things in the history of fantasy sports.
Silva, he is
Silva like T.Y. Hilton last year. He doesn't know when to quit the old guys.
Well, he just said that basically when a quarterback demands like Rodgers, he's going with like the hand in the dirt take of when a quarterback demands that your his guy be traded to your team, and that's the guy he trusts, then you also have to trust that guy.
Why do I have to trust that when I think Randall Cobb can't really play anymore?
We got to stop what was it earlier that Julio or whoever knows how good Michael Jordan has been the worst GM in the history of the NBA, and he's the greatest basketball player of all time. We got to stop trusting these guys. Like Aaron Rodgers was mad that they disrespected some of these dusty old vets, and then he demands Randall Cobb get there. Why does that even matter at all?
Well, if he's third in targets, then
there's a low volume offense that runs a lot. And Aaron Rodgers had a 10.1% TD rate last year. His career rate's like 6.5. It's
but
like,
isn't
what are we doing?
I think also that like Randall Cobb's averaging 10 yards per catch over the past 2 seasons as well. That was also one of Silva's points, I believe.
Good for Randall Cobb. I don't know what you want.
You were asking a question, and I gave you wide receiver OGs of the Swolecast reasoning, and you don't care.
You are at it's not that I don't care. Like of course I love Evan. I respect him, but I just there's not a talking point he could come up with that would get me to start drafting Randall Cobb.
Davis, didn't you say, I think it was you that said this, that I thought was really interesting. Like going into last year, we were not that hyped about the Packers, right?
Rodgers no one wanted him. No, like he went in the 4th round of the Scott Fish Bowl, a super flex draft.
Yeah. Rodgers was like, we had, and I'll hold my L, but like we had conversations like, is it over for Rodgers 2 years ago? And he like legitimately looked bad. Now last year he was awesome. I get it. But like, this is a 1-year thing where he threw 50 freaking touchdowns. And now all of a sudden we're just like, yep, Packers are back. They're the best offense in the league. We got to draft.
No, I was dancing on Rodgers' grave, and it was a fun party, and I would do it again.
All right. Let's go to Erik's team. Your running backs, Antonio Gibson, Etienne, Pollard, and then Hines as your 4th RB.
I love your wide receivers.
I'm a little worried about your running backs.
No, this is this is probably more running backs than you even normally take.
Yeah, it is. I'll usually, like we've talked about this before, but like when I take Gibson, a lot of the times I'll really just like super, super late, like next 4 running backs. Like I'll take 5 in total and just figure it out later. But this was a really wide receiver heavy room. And so it, like I said, ETN kind of fell into this pocket where it was like, I know you took Odell there, but it's like, do I take ETN or, Odell? I'm just going to take ETN there. And then Pollard drops 2 rounds after he normally goes, so
and I can't
it was just
take
kind
him,
of and Davis couldn't get him. So just weird draft kind of.
How broken are our brains, by the way, that we look at Erik's team with a backfield of Gibson, Etienne, Pollard, and Hines, and we're like, oh, that's good enough. Like that can get him there. Like that's fine. The guy who reads the CBS Fantasy Football magazine on the way to his draft is like that guy is like dry retching thinking about spending money on a team with those running backs, and we're like, well, really, if you calculate the win rates and Hines will get, it's like it's just so funny that even inside the same activity, this is as extreme as a fantasy football strategy that I have ever seen gain even nominal acceptance inside of a part. Like this is more extreme than even the idea of like true 0 RB in managed leagues, like hyper fragile running back strategies. It's really pushing to the idea that all that matters is first place and every other result is useless basically.
And it's so different in best ball. That's what people really don't understand. And like your point is perfect because like people maybe haven't caught on to it enough in managed leagues, but like 0 RB isn't crazy at all in managed leagues, dude. You get to pick up the best running back on the waiver wire every single week. If we just full stopped right there, you could literally make an easy argument for 0 RB, setting aside everything else. In best ball, you don't get to pick dudes up. You need you need to hit the lotto, right? You need to hit all this massive parlay. So it is insanely extreme. Trying to pitch that to the dude at Barnes and Noble reading Matthew Berry's, reading Peter via Matthew Berry, while sipping his coffee. It's not that simple.
It's not an easy sell.
Well, the thing that's still fascinating is I do agree with Davis. We've seen a shift, people embracing 0 RB, hyper fragile RB, and yet they're still doing it through a player specific lens. Right? Like the whole point of all this is like, it's just the structure that saves you. You're trying to admit that I don't know who's going to break out, but this structure gives me the best chance. And yet still all the discourse, even around these strategies, is about the players themselves. It's like you're missing the whole point.
So we just had I had a decision I had to make. I had to go with either Darrington Evans or a guy that I'm absolutely loving in late rounds, and that is Damian Williams. I went with Damian Williams.
Absolutely loving.
Yeah. Well, fresh legs.
Fresh
legs. Last year.
Good. Have not heard anyone drop
like
that
that
one yet. Yeah, like
fresh legs. Did not play last year. Obviously, with Tariq Cohen, injury concerns. This could be a guy that really steps up this year as a starter. So I decided to take him and just leave the pass catchers with 10 to throw. So
Dave, you can tweet that one, and then you can use the exact same methodology, but for Darrington, and just space these out a week, right? Darrington was out.
Dude, you're engagement farming right now.
Yes, he is out like most of last year. He's got fresh legs and he's young. And I'm not sure if you've heard, Derrick Henry's had a lot of carries. Big workload.
A lot of wear and tear on it.
The curse of 400. Haven't you read Chris Harris's football almanac? The curse of 400, bro.
It was like 300 or then 350. Now it's 400. They just keep on moving it back for old Derrick.
That was the guy who told me Christian McCaffrey had small bones and that he should be the number 3 player in PPR.
Dead legs and small bones would be the name of a good podcast.
That would be
someone who's big boned. I would listen to that. All right, Davis, talk about your team real quick.
I mean, this is just a pretty normal. Got the Burrow stack, got the Lance stack. Got my hero RB start. I took a running back in round 1. I took a running back in round 2, and then didn't take one until round 11. Bunch of wide receivers I like: Woods, Chase, Judy. I'm leading the pump on Judy right now. I cannot get enough of this dude. I'm just getting the vibe that he's about to unleash like an early career Antonio Brown season on us with
was this before like the Sutton limping news, that sort of thing?
So I did a draft with Sean and Gretch a couple weeks ago, and Sean was like, we should take Judy in the 6th round, and I was like, interesting. And then I went back and looked at that 2018 Bama team, and I was like, Jerry Jeudy was the best player on this team, and this is the best college football offense of all time. There'll never be another offense with that many first-round picks on it.
Bro, have you seen his routes?
Yeah, been grinding.
Check those
tape.
Routes.
Crisp.
Yeah, dude.
Crispest route runner in the league.
Me and Hayden Winks have been in the lab watching. We actually get the film rolls delivered to our house and we watch them via projector, because any other way of watching film is inorganic and you don't actually see the film as clear if you don't do that.
Who are you rooting for to be his quarterback? You want Bridgewater
Teddy.
16 games?
Teddy supported not 1, not 2, but 3 top 28 PPR wide receivers last year.
Teddy hate's gone too far. I've used this mostly to support the Panthers and Darnold, but the Panthers threw for 16 touchdowns last year. Do you know how many the Jets threw for? 16. We look back at the Jets being a total disaster, and they were, obviously. But the Panthers supported all those dudes, right? They supported an RB1 and 3 stud wide receivers. And Teddy just couldn't throw a touchdown in the red zone. What if he throws 5 more touchdowns, 8 more touchdowns, 10 more touchdowns, right? Instead of kicking field goals or whatever. I think that we've gone a little too far with the hatred of Teddy. I think he can support some of these Broncos guys. And like you said, if Judy's the guy, why can't Teddy make Judy, a 1st-round pick next year?
Yeah. All right, we're entering the 18th round. So you guys were talking about getting weird with some of your picks. I want to hear some of these weird 18th.
We want to see your weird 18th round.
You're on
pick,
the clock. You pick first.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go weird. And this guy, listen, he might not be a starter in camp, but I don't think they're giving up on him. N'Keal Harry, listen.
Oh, that is
in the
weird.
18th round. This guy.
Your ownership rate on N'Keal Harry is going to be 5%, Dave. It's very sharp.
That did not disappoint. Oh my God,
that really good.
Listen, we got to go off the way that the lineup construction is. There's not going to be too many people that have the Titans, Giants with N'Keal Harry in the 18th round. So
I will give you that for sure.
There you go. All right. So Davis, you went Colin Johnson.
Yeah, I'm
Eric,
pretty bullish on him.
Cedric Wilson. Someone went Kadarius Toney, and I was going to do him, but I already have enough Giants.
Kadarius Toney closer to getting cut than being a meaningful fantasy impactor this year, I think.
But that's what it takes, Davis, in the 18th round. Like you're not doing it for the safe play. You're doing it for the spike week.
N'Keal Harry demanded a trade, and he might have a better chance of being a contributor on his current team than Kadarius Toney does as a first round pick.
He did demand a trade, but again, Eric, you're not grinding the news reports like I am. Today, he had a great day at practice.
I know.
Kadarius Toney did?
No, N'Keal
Harry. No.
Oh, yeah.
N'Keal Harry.
I was going to say, I would have definitely seen that because Giants fans are still in my mentions from yesterday.
All right, you went with Kenneth Gainwell, which is not exactly an off the radar pick, Peter.
I'm sorry. I did this one as an olive branch to bye week Twitter. They would have looked at my hyper fragile team and said, Peter, you're going to only get one running back score in week 13. You must draft someone else. So I did.
But by then you're going to be 300 points ahead of us.
You can't have those negative 6 point differential.
Guys, we literally timed this perfect. Like that was literally so good.
Wait, you got somewhere to go, Davis? I thought we were going to kind of recap all the teams.
Right. And are
we gonna sauce them?
It's pretty positive. Everyone, like, without Tuttle, like, there was not any sort of moment where we were almost canceled as a show. Like, I really feel good about this, about my draft and how well the show has gone. So
Kitchen Beimfohr. Kitchen should have stopped at 4 running backs here, right? But he had to do Damian Williams for the brand.
Yes, that's correct.
Also should have stopped at 2 quarterbacks.
Dave hasn't figured out. It's early for Dave. He hasn't figured out these basics of best.
I mean,
some of us have been grinding it for a long time.
Sign up at
SpikeWeek.com.
I couldn't stop at 2 quarterbacks because I wanted Daniel Jones.
He had to get the Giant. He had to get the Giant stack. This was
because I had Saquon, Galladay, and Evan Ingram. I'm not going to leave those guys stranded on my team without their leader.
I thought you were going to say something vaguely insightful, and you go, I couldn't stop at 2 running backs. I had to get Daniel Jones.
No, 2 quarterbacks. Yeah, like I'm not going to leave them on an island without their leader. They got to
because obviously, if all those guys are smashing, Daniel Jones is smashing too.
How did I do a hyper fragile build and end up with better wide receivers than Kitchen? How did that happen?
Kitchen was I've always wondered who's the guy taking Brandon Cooks in every draft because I've never done it. David, there's your answer. The guy who shows up with his buddies.
Like that was the pick that I felt the worst about, but like I had to draft a wide receiver at that, and that was a guy who might give me 1 spike week, maybe 2 spike week.
Spike week from your 8th round pick?
Yeah.
Amazing.
I don't need too many with Kenny G and the Titans guys. So
we need to do the best ball aptitude test for Kitchen ASAP.
Oh man. We got to do this every week until the season starts. Where Kitchen drafts a team.
We should put this team against the team that Tuttle and I drafted, and the other that was just absolutely ridiculous. That was Tannehill and Daniel Jones' team.
What is your exposure on Tannehill right now?
Well, of the two drafts he did, Ryan Tannehill's on both of them, so 100%.
So 100%. Small sample size. That team had Kenny Galladay, AJ Brown, Waddle, Kadarius Toney. There you go.
So
all right.
Davis talked earlier about every report from the Giants is that they are the worst team ever. They have dudes retiring. Their quarterback is getting
Kitchen
on the bottom
full stack.
of piles, and Dave is 100% in on the Giants.
Listen, didn't we hear that about the Jets a couple of years ago as well? And they had a few good fantasy assets as well. You can't, if you're just going by the news every day, then your teams are just going to be.
Wait, aren't you the guy that passed up on Tyler Boyd because of one blurb?
You have to know. You have to decipher, Peter. You got to decipher. what's real and what's fake. I mean, it's just like it's.
I've seen this take.
Of lies. I mean, how do you this tangled web Dave weaves with his justifications?
No, Davis, you understand this take.
What take?
That you,
I don't even know where you're going. I literally don't even.
That you have to like you yourself have to decipher what is true and what is not with these camp reports.
Well, sure, but I've seen this take floating around that, like, oh, you shouldn't pay too much attention to camp news. Like, you'll really lose that way. And it's like literally the worst take of all time. It's like you will get these like very important updates on things, like where like if you're just ignoring them, you're just pissing away EV.
Like dead legs.
I mean, even as something as simple as like, oh, Kirk is back at practice and is playing outside or playing the slot, right? Or it's like something as simple as that. You're like, well, if Christian Kirk is going to play 70% of the snaps for the Cardinals, I want to draft him all the time.
Do you think Christian Kirk is going to play 70% of this?
I don't know, but I know that you need to be. You know that you need to be tuned in to every amazing acrobatic catch that McCole Hardman makes, or you're just going to lose.
How much Rondell Moore do you have, Davis?
Here, I will check. I probably not a ton. Probably I bet like 15% or something.
You know what you need to do with Rondell Moore. I haven't drafted on DraftKings in a while, and I think he's going up on drafters too. Davis, you probably know better than me, but I'm not saying don't draft Rondell on Underdog because I have. But
I mean, if you like any rookie wide receiver,
Rondell was going in like the 14th round on DraftKings for the longest time, and he never ever rose up. So if you want to get, and he's a perfect fit for DraftKings scoring.
Yeah, so in a weird way, I'm a lot of the times I'm ready to start taking quarterbacks, running backs, and tight ends where Rondell goes, because a lot of the time I have 7 wide receivers by then. So it's not that I don't like maybe I just need to start taking him a little bit earlier. Maybe I just need to pop the ceiling on it and just say I'm taking him in the 10th round or whatever.
All right.
Of taking rugs.
That will do it for the Swolecast. Listen, if this show has helped you out with your strategy, your process, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, the like button on the show. Follow all these guys for their takes, even if they're tailing other touts, tailing takes. So, and also if you're listening on the podcast, leave us a good review. I haven't even ventured over to the podcast to see some of the reviews lately, but I can only imagine what they are right now. I think that will pretty much do it.
No one is covering best ball other than the Swolecast.
Oh, and spikeweek.com.
And I'll put a plug in tonight on Ship Chasing. Beimfohr's joining us. We're going to draft a big dog team on Underdog live tonight around 9:45. If you want to hop in that draft or watch us draft that.
A Derrick Henry team. Very nice. Anything else you got?
I don't.
Okay, Eric.
Yeah, spikeweek.com. Best ball Discord. Nobody besides the Swolecast is doing it more than Spike Week. It's a close race.
A Swolecast Discord would just be too much. It would be
like 6 dudes who are all asking where the man's is.
It would be like it would be like a moderator's nightmare if we ever had a Discord for the Swolecast. Davis, final thoughts?
Just keep drafting those Tennessee Titans super stacks. Just make sure, Ferkser, Des Fitzpatrick, Josh Reynolds, just make sure
Racy McMath,
whoever that is. Yeah.
The next Julio Jones. He's like Julio Jones light. So
got it.
Yeah. When you're the second highest scoring offense in the league and then you add Julio to your team, you might want to pay attention.
Rocket ships. Yeah.
Right. I want to apologize on behalf of the guys, Justin Herzig, for calling him a fish for his drafting strategies. Justin, we love you. We love everyone else who is watching and listening to the show. We love our producer, Devin, and we will see you next week here on the Swolecast on RotoGrinders.com.